Scary movies. Enjoy the movie, says my father, dropping us off near the movie theater. Which movie are you going to see? Who cares, says Carmen. We love all the movies from the United States, especially the love stories, adds Norma. I'll pick you up in a few hours, he says, driving away. Carmen, Norma, and I run to the theater, but then stop in our tracks. The movie theater is closed. Wait, huh? How long has it been closed? I ask. Nobody? I don't know, says Carmen. I wonder what happened. We stare as if staring will make the movie house reopen. I look back for my father, but he is gone. Let's buy candy and then just walk around, suggests Norma. We race to a candy shop and are just about to buy some waxy orange sweets when a man screaming, help me, almost crashes into the store. The store owner pushes him out, saying, No, not here. Get out. I cannot help you. Fuera de aquí. The man's eyes bug out, looking right at me before turning away. The store owner tries to shove us under the counter, but not before we see a policeman run by yelling, Stop! Rushing out, we see the man collapse in a heap just down the street. The people around stand aside and watch as the policeman cracks the man on his head, even as he lies there. That policeman didn't have to hit him, I say, sucking in my breath. He must have done something wrong, says Carmen. I want to go home, says Norma. A police car drives up. People watch as they drag the man away, then go back to strolling around as if nothing had happened. They didn't have to crack him on the head when he was down, I say again. Maybe he was against the revolution, says Carmen. I want to go home, Norma repeats. We hear drumming and chanting in the distance. Let's go see what's over there, I say, trying to change the subject. Following the Canadian tourists gawking, we get to a gathering of Black people practicing Santeria. The women dance wearing big, colorful skirts and head wraps and wave fragrant, small shrubs around their heads. The men are dressed in white and suck on cigars, making big, puffy clouds of smoke. You think it's okay for us to get close? Asks Norma. Why not? I say. Fidel says practicing religion is bad for Cuba, says Carmen. What about our religion? We go to Catholic school, remember? I snap. Why are you yelling at me? Says Carmen. But policemen come before I can answer, and the santeros shrubs are no match for the policemen's waving sticks, which land hard on people's arms and legs. Carmen, Norma, and I pull one another away and run. Why are the police stopping them from dancing? I cry out. I don't know. It's different now, insists Carmen. What do you mean? I demand. How is it different? I don't know, she replies angrily. I just want to go home, says Norma, pulling at her necklace. We find ourselves in front of the movie theater, panting and raging. Norma continues to pull at her necklace. Carmen looks into the distance. For the first time, we can't think of anything to say to one another. News. Mommy, look, I call out, gasping. My mother comes into the room. What's wrong? I point to images of bloody people on television. What is that? What's going on? My mother's eyes are wide, shocked, before she answers. Turn it off! But I don't want to turn it off. I want to see the news footage of the woman with the white dress and bloodied head. I want to see the man I know is dead because he lies on the ground with a newspaper over his face. I want to see the wall covered with the blood of the people executed against it. But Mommy snaps the television off. What is the meaning of all this violence? Mommy demands to know the minute my father walks in the door. Calm down, Lydia, calm down, says Papi. These are isolated events. Some overenthusiastic rebels, maybe acting on their own. I don't know. Try to calm down. Put it out of your mind. My mother purses her lips and goes into the kitchen and bangs the pots and pans around as she makes dinner. Papi pats my knee. Don't worry, hija. But what is happening, Papi? He takes a breath and holds it in. I don't know, he says, letting the breath out. My face feels like a fist. Trust me, things will turn out all right. Put this out of your mind, he says. But I can't put the television images out of my mind. The woman in the bloody dress, the dead man with the newspaper covering his face, or the bloodied wall people are shot against. I can't keep the image of the man being cracked on the head or the people being hit for practicing Santeria out of my mind either. My father pushes a smile through his face. Think of the new government as a seesaw trying to balance itself, he says. It's going to go to both extremes before it gets rights itself. Don't worry, these events will end soon. But they don't end. We see them on television and in the newspapers, like sparks that come up, die down, then burn bright again, day in and day out, until it seems like normal, like a new normal. It's awful what you can get used to. Explosion. Frutas, naranjas, dulces, sings the fruit seller in Parque Central Plaza. My father and I are going for ice cream when boom! There is an explosion. The plaza fills with acrid smoke, and paper flyers float down like blankets of feathers from above. Papi shoves my head under his arm and pulls me down on the ground, where I see sandaled, shoed, and high-heeled feet scurrying, twisting, and turning all around. The fruit seller and his grandson have more to deal with: the fruit cart, the oranges, and the old man's cough. The police come. They push us all back, away from the truck, and examine the area. It was the ice cream truck that exploded. They announce importantly, as if we didn't know, as if we hadn't been right there. They talk, pointing to the building where the flyers are coming from, even as they try to gather them before anyone can read them. But I manage to grab one. My father takes it from me, reads it, folds it, and puts it in his pocket. This is the work of counter-revolutionaries, he whispers. People against Fidel. This is bad. Out of the corner of my eye, I see the old fruit seller stumble and cough into the crook of his elbow. The smoke is too much for him. The grandson holds the old man up with one hand as if he were a baby, while trying to balance the cart with the other. But when the old man tries to help, it's a mess that unfolds in slow motion. The old man falls, the boy drops everything to catch and cradle him, and then they sadly watch their cart crash into a bench, with the oranges rolling everywhere. Fear and anger that had been hiding in the corners of my mind explode out into the open. Can you just tell Fidel that he should do something to make it stop? That trucks shouldn't explode in the park when people are trying to buy ice cream or sell oranges. What? ¿Qué? My father looks stunned, confused. Papi, you heard me. Calm down. I can't calm down, Papi. Why should men get cracked on the head even when they are down? And why shouldn't people practice Santeria if they want to, like they always did without getting pushed around? And then I bury my face in my father's waist, but he sees my tears anyway. His eyes get soft and round with worry and sorrow, with deeper lines and shadows than I could ever draw. Papi, what happened to the woman in the bloody white dress we saw on TV? Or the man lying on the street with the newspaper over his face? Why are people being executed against walls? Was it supposed to be like this? Is this what you thought would happen after the revolution? His eyes go from round worry to straight determination. Let's go, he says. Back home, Papi races the room, telling Mami that he will knock some sense into his comrades. She makes café as I sharpen his pencils and he writes draft after draft of his thoughts to send to the newspapers. Mami asks him if speaking out is safe. Why wouldn't it be safe? I ask before he can answer. Why wouldn't it be safe? Of course it's safe, he assures me. This is not a dictatorship. Just writing my opinion to send to newspapers will not get me killed in this new Cuba. He manages a smile, but I feel a storm coming. Papi's arrest. Days later, a window shutter bangs, announcing the storm's arrival. Close that shutter, Mommy shouts out of the corner of the kitchen. But it's not the shutter making noise. It's someone banging on the door. Chispa hackles rise. When Papi goes to see, two policemen barge in with the weather. One of them is his buddy boy pal, Antonio, Pimpleface. Rafael Andino, you are under arrest, Antonio says, pointing to my father. Antonio, is this some kind of joke? Says my father. I am afraid not, Rafael. This is no joke, says Antonio. You are under arrest. The other policeman watches me closely. Antonio, you're talking to me, your compañero. We fought together. I know, Rafael. Then Pimpleface tries to pull him aside, whispering urgently, we did fight together. We fought for the revolution. We fought for Fidel. But you've changed. You keep writing these articles. People are calling you an anti-Fidel. But that's ridiculous. I'm not against Fidel, says my father. I just want to point out some problems. That's all. Antonio leans in close and warns hoarsely. But sending these articles to the newspapers? Are you crazy? He says. Let's go. No, wait! Don't take him, I cry out. How can I lose my father again when I feel as though I just met him? Papi bends down, holding me close. Mami scoops down and wraps her arms around both of us. Rafael. We don't want you to go, I cry. I have a job for you, he says to me, suddenly standing tall. I want you to help your mother. She falls against him, even as he helps her up. But you said... I fumble around quickly, trying to remember his words. You said this revolution was about ending a dictatorship. Now it's about helping your mother and the family until I get back, he says sharply. Then he whispers something in Mami's ear. She looks at him, panicked. No, she answers. I couldn't. You must, he says. He turns to me as Antonio shoves him out the door. I hope I can count on you, Ana. Then Papi wiggles his ears at me. How can he wiggle his ears at me at a time like this? Did he think I was the same kid he left behind when he went to fight in the revolution? I wasn't. My mother sags against the door. I grab the phone and dial my grandmother. Here, I say, offering her the mouthpiece. Talk to grandmother. Tell her, you must. She blinks, takes the phone, and pulls on her hair nervously as I listen to one side of the conversation. I can hear my grandmother scream at the other end of the line. The family will come tomorrow, says Mommy, finally hanging up. Then she makes coffee she forgets to drink. Your father will be back before we know it, she says. Mommy's shoulders cave in as she goes into her room. Her soft sobs are the only things holding her up. Chispa and I follow her as the sobs give way and she collapses onto her bed. I take off her shoes and pull the thin blanket around her. Then I go back into the kitchen and drive and drink the cold coffee, feeling much older than I did yesterday.